Comments on Saturday were insufficient. What would you have liked the President of the United States to say in the wake of the events in Charlottesville, the death of that young woman, the death of two state troopers for Virginia? And why is it important for any president, not just this one, to come out in a moment like that and speak strongly?
Well, Willie, presidents have rare moments when they get to speak not just to our nation, but to the world. And I've been struck that President Trump is in the middle of two unfolding crises. And in one, he's been too belligerent, too aggressive, and a little bit ahead of his team. And in the other, he's failed to step up and speak in a moral and a positive way about how we confront the evil that is white nationalism. In confronting North Korea's expanding and aggressive nuclear program, President Trump has repeatedly overperformed. And in making it clear that all Americans stand united in opposing neo-Nazism and white supremacy, he's really failed to step up to the plate. Many other Republicans in the Senate, many other elected leaders gave sharp, clear denunciations of what happened in Charlottesville. It's disappointing the president continues to step back at moments when he really should step forward.
Senator Frank Bruni has a question for you.
Yeah, Senator, you mentioned, and we talked about this earlier, the number of your Republican colleagues in the Senate who said strong things of exactly the nature that Donald Trump didn't say. Do you think this is going to compel them or invite them to move a little further away from the president?
Well, I think it gets harder and harder for his colleagues, certainly those I serve with in the Senate, to openly and enthusiastically embrace the president when on such vital moral challenges as whether or not to stand up to Nazism, he doesn't meet the same level of engagement that they do. I'll remind you that Orrin Hatch, the most senior Republican senator, gave one of the clearest statements denouncing Nazism over the weekend, reminding all of us of that greatest generation when he said that his older brother didn't die fighting Nazism in Europe simply to have that ideology tolerated here at home. I do think this is going to make it harder for President Trump within his own party in the Congress going forward.
Hey, Julia, it's Nick Confessori. Back in 2016, the trolls online targeted you after you wrote a story about the president's wife, which was a fair story, by the way, and took pictures of you and called you anti-Semitic slurs. Who are these people? And what is their relationship to the president's movement, and why does he have this problem of not calling them out, which was the same problem he had back then?
Well, they didn't just harass me online. They also tried to order coffins and homicide cleanups to my apartment. They continue to harass me and attack my younger sister, my mother. So this is, you know, to me, the march in Charlottesville is nothing new. And I understood back in, this was April 2016, that should Donald Trump win, this is who he's going to bring with him to the White House, and so he did. I would take issue with the previous question and the answer. We've been seeing this these kinds of denunciations perhaps a little bit less forcefully. We saw them through all of 2016 when Trump went after a judge of Mexican heritage, and Speaker Paul Ryan said this is the textbook definition of racism, but I'm still going to vote for him. When he went after a Gold Star family and cast aspersions on their Muslim faith, people denounced him, but then they all stood behind him and tried to work with him because there was the possibility of repealing Obamacare and tax reform. So as long as you have these condemnations paired with these venal political motives, we're not going to see any difference.
Rick?
Senator Coons, good morning. It's Rick Tyler. Looking at your op-ed in The Atlantic this morning, you described that the Democratic Party can't just be a secular party. Can you describe faith in your own life and how it guides you as a legislator?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Can you describe, I'm keying off your op-ed in The Atlantic today, can you describe faith in your own life and how it guides you as a legislator?
Well, one of the things that I bring to legislating is a sense of humility that is at the core of my faith, and a sense of a commitment to caring for those on the margins of our society, those who are either in need of economic help, those who are in need of medical help. And part of what motivates me to keep fighting for the Affordable Care Act, and part of what motivates me to keep fighting for economic opportunity is a personal belief motivated by my religious faith that those are the folks in our society we are called to tend to.
All right, Julia Ioffe, stick with us if you can. Senator Chris Coons, we appreciate your time very much. Still ahead, President Trump is set to launch an investigation into China's trade practices today. We'll look